I have a strange power. If I look a woman in the eyes for 3 seconds, she falls madly in love with me. That day, I had just left one girl's room and hadn't even caught my breath when I ran into another pretty girl. We locked eyes, and before I knew it, I was back in bed with her. That's why I'm always late for work. On the way to the office, I called my boss to say I was stuck in traffic. My driver was a woman. She stared at me in the rear view, then honked to cover for me, saying there was a jam ahead. But that only dragged me into another mess. At the office, a client deal closed fast. I thought I'd finally do well. The boss called me in. I hoped for a raise. Instead, he fired me. Why? Turns out almost every woman at the company had been with me. My boss's daughter even called it true love. I kept apologizing, nearly making him pass out from anger. My coworkers were sadder than I was. Some cried, some wanted to follow me out the door. I just said goodbye. Back at my apartment, I met a new neighbor. A few seconds of eye contact and I was in her room again. My uncle warned me to be faithful, to settle down. I didn't take it seriously. I thought jobs would be easy to find, so I started going to interviews. But every boss turned me away. The old boss had already spread my secret. Every company knew about my power. Even a female boss who tested me later shut the door coldly. At home, my uncle said I needed help. Then a company called and offered me a job. I went in and found the office full of men. I breathed a sigh of relief. Maybe this time I wouldn't get fired. That night we celebrated, and my uncle found out the real boss was a model and her husband was a crime boss. One look at her and I knew I couldn't resist. To survive, I agreed to get treatment. My uncle hired a hypnotist to try to fix me, but the hypnotist fell in love with me instead. Danny brought a shrine woman to try magic. Even she, single for 35 years, couldn't resist. Every trick failed. This weekend the CEO wanted to meet me. I stared at a poster on the wall, closed my eyes, and felt done for. Then my uncle found a psychologist who studies rare cases. I went thinking it was a last chance, and for the first time, my power failed. She felt nothing for me. My treatment had only just begun.